Hi everyone, I'm Jim and welcome to the review of Arche, or Arche, the 9th studio record by the band Dir En Grey. Today we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the record, so I decided to go back and see if it still holds up or not. I've already reviewed their Vulgar, The Insulated World and Uyo Boyos records, so go check those videos out. My story with this band is quite simple. Back in 2011, my friend from Greece, she showed me this band and I've been their fan ever since. That was before Doom Spiro came out, and back then their first release that spoke to my soul was Vulgar, and then I fell in love with The Marrow of a Bone and Ouroboros. To this day, those are my favorite Dir En Grey albums. Arche means the origin in Greek, so I will be calling this record The Origin from this point on because it's easier to pronounce. And well, this is the first record after Kyo had those throat issues. While being on the road promoting Doom Spiro, something bad happened to his throat and he could have lost his voice. Fortunately, he did not. He can still sing, scream, shout, growl, but his vocals did change after that. Now he sounds slightly different than he did previously. The Origin came out 2 years after the band released their single Rinkaku, which was a massive success. Everyone loved that song, and then they've released the Unraveling EP, which was like 1 or 2 new songs, and the rest of the songs were basically re-recordings of older tracks. As you can see here, the record has 2 cover arts. I don't know which one is worse, to be honest. I guess the better one is the official one. And well, when it comes to the lineup on this record, as usual we have Kyo on the vocals and doing the lyrics, Kaoyu and Dai on the guitars, Toshiya on the bass and Shinya on the drums. The production here is muddy. I don't know who did the production mixing on this record, but they should be fired. Same like on the next record, The Insulated World. Both of these albums have the worst sound. Production wise, at least to me, everything is so overproduced and muddy, and in the back you cannot even hear the bass most of the time, especially the new version of Saying the Untruth, which sounds 10 times worse than the single version. I wish this record would be remastered or remixed or fucking re-recorded, because the production, I just cannot stand it most of the time. It actually hurts the good songs, because you just get so tired after hearing that stuff for over half an hour or so. Next, let's talk about the message. It's diverse. As usual, we get the cryptic lyrics, which we don't even know what they are about. Only Kyo knows the real meanings behind the songs, so I can only talk about my interpretation of the lyrics. So we have some songs about heartbreak, relationships, passage of time, abuse, rape, love, romance, stuff like that. It's all here. To be quite honest, I am not that interested in the lyrical message behind this record. To me, in music, the most important thing are the instruments, then the vocals, how they sound like, and after that, there's lyrics. Structure of the tracks is basic, standard intro, verse, pre-chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. Sometimes the structure is slightly different, like after the verse 1 we get verse 2, or we have a new section in the middle, but that's basically it. Nothing special here, nothing technical. When it comes to the music on this record, it's a departure of the previous 3 records, like Doom Spiro, Ouroboros and The Marrow of a Bone, which were more focused on aggression, intensity, heavier stuff. This record could be described as a progressive metal or experimental metal record with lots of progressive rock influences. We still have some heavier songs here, like 3 or 4 of them, but everything else is much more mellow, more akin to Japanese rock stuff. And for many old school fans that loved the first 2 albums, that's a massive plus because they want to hear that stuff. And for people who enjoy more heavier and darker side to Dir En Grey, well, they're going to be disappointed because most of this stuff is pretty mellow. Some other genres that are mixed into this record are industrial rock, some death metal vibes here and there. Yeah, it's interesting, but I feel like it needs more variety. Especially when we are talking about a band like Dir En Grey, who would always surprise us with a new record. Well, this one was not a pleasant surprise, at least to me. Now let's talk about the performance on this record. Let's start with the drumming. The drummer is phenomenal. His playing, his double bass work, his groove, the style, the precision of his playing, it's all here. He gives us his more faster performances on tracks like Revelation of Mankind, The Inferno, but also more laid-back performance on slower tracks like Rinkaku, Tosei, etc. So yeah, he's phenomenal here. Next we've got the bass work. Well, the bass is almost not audible, like at all, but I do know that the bassist is trying his best. He has some cool bass lines. Some of them you can hear, others you cannot because of the shitty production. I guess the bass shines the most on the song Sustain the Untruth because you can actually hear it. Not that you can hear it in the best kind of way, because for that you would have to listen to the single version, which has the bass crisp and upfront in the mix, something that does not happen on the actual album. Next we get the guitar work, and as usual it's stellar. We get some heavier, chunkier, crazy guitar riffs mixed with those more funkier ones and more mellow, melodic, introspective. Lots of clean guitars here and there mixed with those more heavier stuff. Yeah, it works. We also get some orchestral and electronic elements on this record, some piano here and there. Yeah, it's all fine. It works to make the music sound more interesting. Last but not least, we've got Kyo with his voice, and I love his screaming, shouting, yelling and growling. That's always the highlight of his vocals to me. But then we get to the singing, and as you may probably know from my previous reviews if you have watched them, I am not a big fan of Kyo's singing because it's all over the place. Like, half of it is fantastic and the other half is like atrocious, and in the past usually it was more towards the latter, the first one, so most of the singing was actually phenomenal. But since his operation or something, he does not sing like he did previously on this record. Like, he does that weird opera voice, opera, whatever, you know, like opera music, and I just fucking hate opera music. So whenever I hear vocals like that, I just want to immediately turn off the song, and I couldn't because I had to listen to this entire record from beginning to the end. So it was excruciating. So I would say like 80% of the vocals here are straight up great. The other stuff is that opera shit that, I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea. I've tried to like it, but you cannot force yourself into anything. It never works out. So yeah. Now let's talk about the individual tracks. The album opens up with Undieu or something like that, and I do enjoy the more darker nature of this song. The atmosphere, especially the guitar riffs and the drumming, are phenomenal. Then we get the vocals, which are also fun to listen to. Nothing annoying here. But this is not a masterpiece. This is just a great song from beginning to the end. Not something that you will actually remember in a week or a month. This is not Venushka or something like that. Nope. This is just a great song. Nothing more, nothing less. 8 out of 10. Soshaku, I could say the same exact thing. This one has actually quite interesting atmosphere to the music. The vocals, yet again, great stuff. Nothing awful here. So yeah, another great track, 8 out of 10. Uyoko, now this one is the first one where some of the vocals are like cringy to me, like bleh. But the rest of them do slap. The music picks up, there's some more energy and intensity here compared to the previous two songs, which is very nice. 8 out of 10. Phenomenon, now this is a track that has more of a industrial rock vibe. It's slightly dark, slightly funny to me because of the melody, the rhythm, but I do enjoy it. Yet again, some of the vocals, the high-pitched ones, the singing is like fucking awful, but everything else, yeah, it's on point. But I guess this is one of the weaker songs here. It's still good, don't get me wrong, but it's not something I will remember in a week or two. 7 out of 10. Cause of Fickleness. Now this song brings back some of the intensity, some of the fun, you know. It has that vibe of the first record to me. I love some of the crazy vocals Kyo is doing here. The noises, they're just so fun. But yet again we get some more of that high-pitched singing that I just cannot stand. So yeah, that's the only flaw in the song for me, because the music is fantastic. 8 out of 10. To say. Now this is more of a mellow, introspective song, but I just love the vocal performance here. It's beautiful from beginning to the end. This song, you know, it's more mellow, so for some people it's going to be boring, but for me it does work, so 9 out of 10. The best song so far, Rinkaku. Now this was released as a single in 2012, and at the time I hated it because it only had singing, I think, and some of the melodies were not for me. The vocals weren't that great, to be honest, but that was to be expected because he had surgery and he had to basically regain his singing capabilities. And then 2 years later we get the album version, which is even worse somehow because of the muddy production, which just buries the details in the track, like you cannot even focus on them. So this is just an average thing, nothing special. If it did not exist, I wouldn't cry about it. But yeah, the album version is even worse, so if you have the chance, just check out the single version from 2012 and stay with that one. 3 out of 10 to the album version and 5 out of 10 to the single one. Chain Repulsion, again a track that brings back some of that intensity, a fun spirit, you know. The guitars, the drumming, the bass, it all slaps. The vocals, yet again, most of them, the heavier vocals, great. Some of the singing, not for me. 9 out of 10. Midwife. Now this is the only track on the record that reminds me of Doom's Spio Speo. It has that energy, intensity. The vocal performance is just straight up beautiful. I love the screaming, growling, yelling, even the singing. Everything is on point here. I wish every song on this record sounded like this one, because this is one of the tracks that I actually have fun while listening to, and I'm not falling asleep as it's playing. So 10 out of 10. Magayasu. Now this one, yet again, fantastic music. The guitars, the drums, the everything is just so emotional, so impactful. But then we get the vocal performance, which yet again disappoints me. Some of that high-pitched singing, opera shit, not for me. Everything else is on point. 9 out of 10. Kaishun. Now this one is pretty great, same with Behind a Vacant Image. Kaishun is slightly generic, I would say, like we're already in the middle of the record and the songs start to blend in together, so it's hard to recognize them. It's a great song, don't get me wrong, but as a part of the record, it's too samey to everything else, but I do enjoy it a lot. 8 out of 10. And Behind a Vacant Image, this one has more life to it than the previous song, but yet again, some of the vocals, not for me. 8 out of 10. Sustain the Untruth, the second single from this record, and I just love the single version. I'm not even going to lie to you. This is a nu metal banger because it brings back the vulgar intensity. It has the bass lines, the chunky funky bass, dum 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 dum, the cool verses with the eerie guitar riffs, the vocals, the whispers, "You're into me, don't to die is right." Great stuff. And then the beautiful chorus, which does not annoy me in any way. It's just powerful, and yeah, everything is perfect here. But then we get the album version. The awful production kills this song off. The bass is so muddy, like it's drowning in the mix, and it sounds awful. It sounds like shit. So if you get the chance, listen only to the single version. If you have a digital copy of this record, replace the album version with the single version. I have done this with Rinkaku and Sustain the Untruth to actually enjoy the songs. So 5 out of 10 to the album version because of the awful production, and 11 out of 10 to the single version because this is the best song here, period. Kukoku no Kyun, this is the weakest track on the record for me. Very, very boring, too long. It's fun to listen to on its own, but in the context of the record, you're just going to get tired, like, why is it here? So yeah, the music is fine, the vocals are mostly good, some of them yet again not for me. 7 out of 10. The Inferno is the heaviest song on the record. I love the music, the drumming, the bass and the guitars, even if some of the guitar melodies are very generic sounding, like some metalcore band from 2006. But still, I do enjoy it. The vocals slap, the screaming, the shouting, the yelling. It's all I ever wanted from this band. This is not a masterpiece, but it's one of the better songs on the record. 9 out of 10. Revelation of Mankind, yet again a perfect closer to this record. Fantastic performance, music-wise, you know, the drumming, the bass, the guitars. Love the verses here so much, especially the vocals in them. The chorus could have been better. It's the only thing that I'm like, yeah, it's fine that it's here, but could have been changed. Like, I would love a song without any singing, to be quite honest. Like, I am not an elitist or something, but when it's Dir En Grey, I wish I could get a song that's just straight up heavy banger from beginning to the end, or it had more of a singing akin to Sustain the Untruth, because the singing there is perfect. So yeah, this is a great song, nothing more, nothing less. 9 out of 10. Now let's talk about the 2 bonus tracks. End Zero, this is an instrumental piece. It's fun. I guess it was supposed to be the intro for the record and then they've changed it because it has that vibe, like it's supposed to build up to the album. It's just fine. 7 out of 10. Tefu Tefu, which means butterfly. I have no idea why this is not on the standard edition of the record, because this song has energy, intensity, very interesting lyrics, to be honest. I wonder what this song is about, because my interpretation, I don't want to share it with people. That's all I'm going to say. I love the vocals here, the guitar riff slap, the energy. Yeah, it's a great song. It's not perfect, but it should have been on the record, especially when this entire record, the origin, lacks the more energetic songs. It has too much ballads, too much singing, too much boring stuff, and not enough stuff like this. We need more Tefu Tefu. 8 out of 10. To sum it all up, the consistency is various, the flow is disrupted, replayability, yeah, it's a good record, I do enjoy it, but when it first came out, I was so disappointed. Like, to me back then in 2014, this was the worst Dir En Grey record. Like, every previous one was miles ahead of this one. And to this day, even after I've heard it 50 or 60 times already, I still feel like it's one of the weaker ones. Because while the songs on their own are fine, the production and how the tracklist goes, that's what brings the record down for me. The production is atrocious, it's so depressive, it's so boring that it will make you fall asleep. Today it was actually very hard for me to go through this entire record. Like, I had to make a short break from it because I was just falling asleep actually. So that always happens when I'm listening to this record because of the production and how the songs are basically structured. You basically get too much ballads on the album. There should be more variety, more heavier tracks like Revelation of Mankind, The Inferno, more stuff like Midwife, less stuff like Rinkaku and Kaishun. If it were up to me, I would actually shorten this record, so it would have like maybe 11 songs at best. So I would just keep probably Tefu Tefu, Revelation of Mankind, The Inferno, Sustain the Untruth, Magayasu, Midwife, Chain Repulsion, Tusei, Cause of Fickleness, Sushaku, and Undo, and probably that's all. Maybe also Uroko, because I feel like truly there are too many ballads here, too many slow songs, which on their own are great, but as you're listening to this entire package, it drags the entire thing down. So yeah, I do enjoy it. Sorry that I'm so negative this time, but it's just how I feel. I've always felt I've gave this record so many chances and it never gets better, it's always the same. I feel like The Insulated World is slightly better because it has less songs, and Phalaris from 2022, I haven't listened to it that much to form an opinion yet, because I've only heard it like 10 or 20 times. I need to listen to it more basically to get into it, you know. And with The Origin, you know, Arche or Arche, whatever, I've heard it so many times that, yeah, it haunts me. It haunts me to this day. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the review, give it a like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram, links in the description. Write down in the comments if you love this record or not. Maybe it's your favorite, or maybe it's the worst for you. I would love to hear about your opinions. If you want, support me on Patreon or YouTube membership so I can make more videos like this one. Thank you and bye!